Hi, my name is Dan Carmody, and I'm the Executive Director of Tresolution, and we're hosting the 2019 U.S. Fintech Symposium this September in Chicago. We are absolutely thrilled to have Edward Woodford joining us at this year's event. He is the co-founder of Seed CX, and he will be giving a presentation titled Institutional Adoption of Digital Assets, an analysis of the risks and opportunities, a tremendously important and interesting topic. Thank you, Edward, for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, and really looking forward to the event in a couple of months' time.
Thanks. Can you tell us a little bit more about your topic, please?
Yes, so one of the topics that is talked about a lot in the media is about the institutionalization of digital assets. But very often it's not really unpacked as to what that really means. And so one of the areas that I want to talk about is the difference between OTC volume and OTC trading versus on exchange or lit volume, and how that differs and how that potentially will change over time. I also think a really important aspect of it is, what do we mean by institution in the digital asset space? Pension funds versus proprietary trading firms are obviously very different forms of institutions, and they want slightly different things. Also, one of the interesting things about institutionalization of the space is also the ability to trade on margin. And how does that actually look? What are kind of the differences, the different models that can be used in the space versus more conventional asset classes? Obviously, this is a very volatile asset class. So how do you need to change the way that you think about margin and risk mitigation in the space? And then finally, I think one of the interesting areas to talk about is the settlement of digital assets. How does settlement actually occur? If an institution buys digital assets, how do those assets actually move? Are they on-chain or are they off-chain? What are the benefits of both? How can you build a settlement infrastructure that institutions are most comfortable with? Is it cold storage? Is it hot? Is it hot? Alternatively, is it omnibusing assets? Or is it giving each client or each institution their own wallet infrastructure? Do clients actually want to hold their private keys, or do they not? So there's a whole host of potential discussion points around the institutionalization of digital assets, and how digital assets share a lot of parallels to conventional asset classes, but also some of the nuances and differences. And that's what I'm really excited to be talking about at the conference, and also hearing people's thoughts.
Tell me a little bit more about who you think would be interested in an event like this. What industries, what titles, who do you think should come in and hear this session?
Yeah, so digital assets is obviously something that is talked about a lot, and potentially has a really disruptive effect on potentially anybody involved with financial services. The blockchain has that disruptive effect, and the disintermediation of finance also potentially changes the way that business needs to be done. So of course, this is a potential occurrence, and yet it's still yet to be completely proven out. But that also gives a huge amount of opportunity. So I think people that might be interested in the event, and having looked at some of the other speakers talking, I think VCs would be very interested, banks, kind of people in corporate development at these institutions, proprietary trading firms, hedge funds, all groups that are potentially affected by a changing landscape and the way things are done in financial services, would be an ideal audience, I think, for the event.
So we're thrilled that you're going to be a speaker, but we're equally thrilled that you'll be attending the event. Are there other topics or presentations that are of interest to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've gone through a number of rounds of fundraising. Our largest investors are Bain Capital and a group called OKCoin out of Asia. And one of the things that I'm always interested in is how VCs look at fintech. And there's a great panel or a great speaker on how VCs look at investing in fintech. And that's very relevant to us as we look towards raising additional capital potentially in the future. Is how does the landscape change? How has it changed? What are the key things, the key metrics that VCs are looking for, outside, of course, our own kind of microcosm of our current investor base? What are kind of the macro trends? And I think that would be something that would be very, very relevant for me personally, something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, as am I. I think that's going to be a great talk. So you're based here in Chicago. You've been in Chicago for a while. A lot of people will be traveling from out of town to the U.S. Fintech Symposium in Chicago. Are there any attractions or anything that you would recommend for people to do when they're in the city?
Yes. So yeah, we're a team of 45 people based here in Chicago, and I've called Chicago home for 4 years now. And obviously the event's happening just at the tail end of the Chicago summer. So one of the best things that you can do is obviously get out and you know, enjoy the weather. And I think the best way to do that is to get on the architectural tour. You know, boats that run. It's always a great event, and the history of the architecture in the city, they're absolutely incredible. I think there's a couple of things going on at the moment which are pretty special, such as Art on the Mart, which would be pretty spectacular. So I think getting a architectural boat cruise just around sunset will be an incredible opportunity to see Chicago in all its beauty.
Great recommendation. I've been on that cruise. I think it's a great opportunity for someone to learn a little bit more about the city. And even if you're from Chicago, it's a great opportunity to learn more about the city. So, Edward, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you giving us some insight into your presentation topic, and really looking forward to your presentation at this year's event.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really looking forward to it.
All right, take care.
Cheers.